Welcome back. Today we'd like to continue our thought experiment. Remember, we're trying to come up with a security policy to figure out what multi-level security or military security looks like. Okay, so to remind you of where we are, we've assigned sensitivity levels to our information, which is partitioned out into various folders. And we've assigned clearance or authorization levels to individuals who may be accessing that information. Okay, so as an example, if the subject, the human being, has clearance secret crypto and the document is at level confidential crypto, then it should be okay for that individual to access that document because he's cleared to secret. Confidential is lower, and they're both at crypto, so no problem there. On the other hand, if the individual is cleared to secret with some categories and the document is at top secret with some categories, well, we shouldn't allow it, sort of independent of what the categories are, because the information contained in the document is at a higher level than the individual has clearance to see. Okay, so I need to introduce a little bit of vocabulary. We've been talking about individuals and folders so far, but really in terms of the kinds of security models which we're defining here, the policies that we're defining, the vocabulary which is typically used is to refer to objects, subjects, and actions. Objects are the information containers or the passive entities, whether those are files or folders or databases or documents. And the subjects are the active entities, and those might be people, but they might also be processes, programs, something of that nature. And then actions, we haven't talked much about this yet, but there are various different kinds of actions that a subject might perform with respect to an object. For example, read, write, execute, append, so on. Okay, so we're going to use those terms from now on. And what we've been referring to as individuals or humans, we'll tend to call those subjects. And what we've been talking about as files or folders or documents, we'll call those objects. Okay, so given that we have labels on subjects and labels on objects, how do we decide whether a given subject is permitted to access a given object? Well, we need to define a relationship between the labels. And this is what does that. We define a partial order on the set of labels, and we call that order dominates. Okay, so how does it work? Remember that a label has two components, a hierarchical component and a set of need to know categories. And so when we compare the two labels, we have to take both of those components into account. And this label dominates this one if the hierarchical component of this one is greater than or equal to the hierarchical component of that one, and the set of need to know categories here is a superset of the set of need to know categories here. Okay, we've looked at some examples and we'll look at some more. But notice that this is a partial order, it's not a total order. What does that mean? It means that there are labels for which neither of them dominates the other. So for example, if you think about top secret crypto and top secret nuclear, neither of those dominates the other. And to see that, you would just plug them into this definition and see that the answer is no. Okay. So let's look at a few examples. Suppose we have label 1 is secret crypto and label 2 is confidential crypto. Label 1 does dominate label 2. Why? Because secret is greater than or equal to confidential, and the set containing crypto is a superset, not a proper superset, but the same set actually as the set containing crypto. Any set is a superset of itself, right? So the answer in that case is yes. If we looked at secret crypto nuclear and top secret crypto, the answer is no. Why? Because the level of the first, the hierarchical level of the first, is not greater than or equal to the level of the second, which is top secret. And then finally, secret nuclear dominates unclassified no categories because secret is greater than or equal to unclassified, and the set containing nuclear is a superset of the empty set, as any set would be. Okay, so does that suggest, or that should suggest to you, a way to answer the question, which of these subjects are granted read access to which of those objects? The answer really has to do with the dominates relation, and let's make that formal. So here's the rule. It's called the simple security property, and it attempts to capture the notion of read access in military security or multi-level security. So it says the following: a subject with a certain clearance may be granted read access to an object at a certain classification only if the level of the subject dominates the level of the object. So what does that mean? It means that I can read objects at my level or below me. I can't read objects above me, which fits our intuition. Now, you might ask, why is it only if? It says that I can have read access only if my level dominates the level of the object. Well, if you think about General Eisenhower's office example, right? If Colonel Jones walks in and says, I would like access to that top secret document, and has top secret clearance, do you grant it? Well, maybe. It may be that the secretary has found out that Colonel Jones is a spy, and instead of handing him the document, she calls the MPs, right? And so the simple security property gives you a hurdle that you have to get over to gain access, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily gain access. That is, it's a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition, because there may be other security constraints which are in place. That's why it's only if instead of if and only if. Okay. Right, so what have we learned in this lesson? Well, we've introduced the dominates relation, which is going to be very important in a number of security models, including the one we're building. And we've said that the simple security property tells us how to use dominates to decide for read access whether a particular subject should have read access to a particular object. And we do that by comparing the security levels, and if the security level of the subject dominates the security level of the object, then we may grant read access, but there may be reasons why we still don't grant it. Thank you.